What's up, everybody? John Eric Polai here with my MMA news and continuing my my previews and predictions for UFC 290. Today, taking a look at Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis, a matchup that I'm really looking forward to. Before we get into a few key stuff and into a breakdown and everything, just want to remind everybody too, I did do one of these videos for the main event, Alexander Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez. Also did one for the co-main event, Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja. So those are all available on MyMMAnews.com. Also available on this YouTube channel. Like to just invite you guys to go ahead, check those videos. All my interviews, everything published will all be seen at MyMMAnews.com. Also my YouTube channel. Feel free to watch and everything there. All right, all that's out of the way now. Let's get into this matchup. Robert Whittaker, Dricus Du Plessis, UFC 290, big-time middleweight matchup. Again, like I said, I am really looking forward to this matchup. Kind of a pretty cool stylistic matchup. Gonna get into all of that. The big thing, though, I think the big storyline kind of coming into this one that a lot of people are focused on is Dricus Du Plessis. It's almost been made clear he's got that blessing from the champion, if you will, right? Because it's pretty much been made clear here by Israel Adesanya that if Dricus Du Plessis wins, he wants Dricus Du Plessis. They've been going back and forth at each other. So that's kind of making this one essentially, in a way, a title elimination fight, or at least for one fighter it is. And you got to ask yourself, is there any pressure on Dricus ahead of this one, knowing that a victory gets him that title fight, gets him that big matchup that he's been calling for, that he's been telling everybody for years now? I've interviewed Dricus a bunch of times. He's been saying that he is the real deal. He's going to climb through this rankings. He's going to get to that title shot, and he is going to bring a title to South Africa. All of that he wants to accomplish is right here in front of him. All he has to do is win. There is a lot of pressure on him, of course, now coming into this one. Now, let's start breaking things down here. So we'll start with Robert Whittaker, since he is a former champion, the higher ranked fighter. You see up there his record as you're looking at it, but just a few things just to talk about with Robert Whittaker. I mean, the guy's an absolute stud, right? We've seen him fight time and time again. Really cool style. He's always moving around, always level changing, likes to go to the wrestling department. It's very good there. And really, we've only ever seen him look bad, I mean, after his long layoff when he lost his middleweight title to Israel Adesanya when he was knocked out. Now, of course, again, like I said, that was after a real long layoff. Then he came back. He worked his way back to the title fight, fought Adesanya very closely. And let's be real, guys. He's making a case for a third fight with Adesanya. We saw Max Holloway do this in the featherweight division. He said, hey, I know I lost twice. I'm going to keep coming back at this. And he would line up contenders. He knocked them all down. He got a third fight. Obviously, we know that Holloway did lose 3 times to Volkanovski. But, I mean, you got to say, Whittaker is starting to make a case the same exact way. If he's going to keep beating contender after contender after contender, at some point you do have to look. If these are the only 2 guys, I mean, they might have to meet a third time. So that is all, I think, in the cards here still for Robert Whittaker. Let's talk a little bit more now about Dricus Du Plessis, 19-2 as a professional fighter. Dricus, he hits hard, and he comes forward. He throws a lot of straight shots, all with mean intentions. Cardio, though, bit interesting with Dricus Du Plessis. Actually, before his last fight with Derek Brunson, I had interviewed him, believe it or not, asked him about that, and he said it's just kind of the way how things are. He has a few problems with, I believe, a deviated symptom. He likes to kind of just drop his jaw a little bit, breathe heavily out of his mouth. It's just kind of the way that he naturally goes about breathing. But he says it's not really that he's winded and he's tired. It's just kind of the way that he looks. Well, in this fight, let's hope he's telling the truth, because Robert Whittaker's not a guy that you want to be tired with whenever you're inside of the octagon. You do not want to fade with him. But here's the one thing that I will say to everybody out there. So the big thing both fighters do well is they both can grapple, they both can wrestle. who is the better one? I think that one will determine things here in this fight. Big thing to keep an eye on as the fight will progress. Now, let's real quickly touch on the tail of the tape. Favors Dricus Du Plessis a lot. He's 3 years younger. He's an inch taller. Also has a 2.5-inch reach advantage. Also, he's going to be probably a lot bigger, I would assume, on fight night. He does carry a bigger frame for the middleweight division. And Whittaker, of course, being a former 170-pound contender, I'm sure he's used to being that smaller guy on fight night anyway. Now, let's quickly look at what the odds makers are saying about this one before we get into a prediction. If you're somebody that likes to take a look at the odds, if you're rooting for Dricus Du Plessis in this one, you're going to be upset. If you really like Robert Whittaker, you're going to be really happy because they're all heavily favoring Robert Whittaker, starting with DraftKings, the official betting sponsor of the UFC. They have Whittaker at -400, Dricus Du Plessis at +300, FanDuel -400 as well, matching the DraftKings odds there. A little bit on Dricus Du Plessis, that's different. They have him at +285. Sportsbetting.ag, as far as their points line goes, they've been keeping things close pretty much all week on fight week. Not really sure why. I know they have a bunch of side bets, but anyway, -190 Robert Whittaker, Dricus Du Plessis +155. BetMGM, Robert Whittaker -370, Du Plessis +290. And Unibet, they make the third one here that has Whittaker at -400. They have Du Plessis at +290. All right, so they are heavily going with Robert Whittaker, and I am going to side with the odds makers. I know I typically tend to do that. There is a reason. I feel like the odds makers usually are on to a lot of things a lot of times. For this one here, I don't know, something about Whittaker. We've seen him do it time and time again. I think here's the big things that I'm kind of looking forward to see from Dricus here. I know we talked about the grappling thing, but we know he likes to come forward and throw big, heavy shots. But Whittaker's always moving. He's very creative with the way he sets up his strikes. If Du Plessis is going to do what he's always done before, when he comes forward like that, he's going to have to be able to come forward and not get hit with the big shot from Robert Whittaker. And Whittaker's been able to do it to a lot of great people throughout his time here in the middleweight division. We've seen him land great shots against a lot of great strikers too, to be fair. So that is one big thing that I'm looking at. The other one is that grappling department that I mentioned before. Dricus Du Plessis, when he gets you down and he starts landing ground and pound, you do not want to be in that position. He's excellent at it, but we know that Whittaker is also a great wrestler for the sport of mixed martial arts, and we've seen him do that time and time again. So if this one if that cancels each other out, then what happens in the striking department? Again, I feel like that might actually favor Robert Whittaker, and I believe you guys probably feel the same way. So for me, I just feel like we've seen Whittaker beat these top contenders time and time again. We've seen his movement, we've seen his ability to change levels, to wrestle. All of that, I think, makes a big factor in this one. Now, here's the thing I will say. I'm big on the Du Plessis bandwagon. I think he is a serious contender, and I think he can walk forward. I think he can land big shots. I think he can wrestle. If he does all of those things and he wins his fight, I would not be overly surprised. I wouldn't. I would say, you know what? Well played. He's done it time and time again. He's continuing to do it. It's just we've seen it from Robert Whittaker so many times throughout his career. He is the real deal. It's just so hard to bet against Robert Whittaker, so I'm going to go with Robert Whittaker. I think more than likely this fight will last the distance. I know we've seen Whittaker, facing guys that are heavier strikers. Sometimes he won't be as, what's the word here? He doesn't want to come as forward as much. He doesn't want to take that chance of getting clipped with the big shot there. So look for Whittaker to just keep moving around, peppering with shots, changing those levels like he's done time and time again, and getting a victory by way of a decision. Again, Du Plessis, would not be surprised if he got the win here, but Robert Whittaker is the safer bet. I feel like the more likely bet. The odds makers like him. I know Till the Tape says otherwise with Du Plessis, but still, I'm going to go with the former champion, Robert Whittaker, getting another big victory here.